and not long after we came off air yesterday, the PGMOL issued this statement. They said, PGMOL acknowledge a significant human error occurred during the first half of Tottenham Hotspur against Liverpool. The goal by Luis Diaz was disallowed for offside by the on-field team of match officials. This was a clear and obvious factual error and should have resulted in the goal being awarded through VAR intervention. However, the VAR failed to intervene. PGMOL will conduct a full review into the circumstances which led to the error. First thing to say is that Darren England and his assistant Dan Cook, who were in the VAR room yesterday, have been taken off their duties today. They were both due to referee at the Brentford at Nottingham Forest game and also tomorrow Fulham-Chelsea as well. They are not going to be doing that. The second thing to say is the failure to intervene. Reports then came out later last night that the reason they failed to intervene was basically a huge miscommunication. Darren England, the VAR, when he was watching the game, he failed to see that the flag went up. He failed to see that Luis Diaz stopped celebrating. He therefore thought the goal had been given. So then when he is looking at the coverage and at the shots and at the angles, he's looking at it thinking the goal's been given. So when he then says, yeah, Luis Diaz is onside, no problem, check complete. He says check complete into the ear of the referee. Referee, of course, thought the goal was offside because the linesman put the flag up. Very confusing. So the referee has then said, oh, check complete. Oh, it must have been offside. The linesman must have been right. Then there's a free kick to Spurs, and as soon as Spurs take their free kick, you cannot then take the game back. Game continues, and the error stays. That is basically what happened. There are so many questions here, Robbie Mustoe. I'll start with you, actually. Yep. My first one is, what is the VAR looking at if they are not looking at the match coverage? And we clearly saw in that highlight not only that Luis Diaz stopped celebrating very quickly, but we saw an isolated camera of the linesman with his flag up. Yeah,
this is the lowest point that we've seen in VAR in its use. This is the 5th season of it. This is the lowest point. This is going to erode confidence from everybody who watches this amazing league, because this isn't an era of a subjective kind of decision like which we did see earlier at the first game of the season with the foul at Nana in the Wolves game. This isn't really about also, well, the lines, you know, when the ball is struck are offside. This isn't that. This is more basic than that. The Darren England and the assistants in that room weren't watching the game properly. They didn't realise what was going on. And if we can't assume they're not watching the game properly, we've got no chance. This is just, they weren't watching the game. They didn't see that this was offside. We saw Luis Diaz, his face disappointed knowing the flag had gone up. We get a shot, as you said, as a flag there. What are the officials looking at that moment when they think they're going to review a goal and not, like everybody had seen, that's offside? So I can't... This is just a human error. There's nothing to do, actually, with VAR. It's to do with they're not watching the game to use the system properly.
Some people are saying, and it's an interesting point, that as soon as the goal went in and then the VARs decided to have a look and say, and made the decision that they made and made the wrong decision. As soon as that free kick was taken by Spurs, a lot of people are saying, well, hang on, before the free kick was taken, just before the free kick was taken, the VAR should have said, no, it's a goal. You should be having a kick-off again. Now, the reason possibly, Robbie Earle, that happened was they didn't have any time, because as soon as the goal hit the back of the net, VAR are looking as to whether or not it's onside or offside. By the time they then say check complete, Simon Hooper, the on-field ref, can say go, and they take their free kick and it's all done. So actually there isn't any time, right?
Absolutely right. And I have to go back to Mustoe's point, and that you said that Darren England, the VAR, was watching the game. They obviously were not watching the game, Rebecca, because we've seen the shots of Luis Diaz not celebrating, and we've seen the flag up.
But is that because they're under pressure to make the decision quickly? So as soon as the ball hits the back of the net, they don't even watch the coverage. They're straight away looking at the replays of the goal.
Possibly, but that's where human error tells you that apparently there's 4 people in that room: VAR assistant, video operator, and somebody else in that room. One of those 4 must be watching the game. One of those 4 must be. And then I get to the point that, OK, human error, where we are. At what point is that communication that as they start to see the free kick, are they not going into the referee's ear and saying, whoa, you've got this wrong. It's not a free kick. It should be a centre kick. The goal should be given. It's like we've made a mistake, and then it's almost like they've sat back and go, oh,
But arguably, I
think
arguably the point is they didn't have the time, because as soon as they decided, yes, that was the right decision, check complete, Simon Hooper let the game continue.
And then we talked about it earlier on. Do you then point? And by the way, you're not meant to bring it back. But is there a time when?
Is there not a way that?
Whoa. I know we're not meant to, but this is crazy. But then maybe other people will then say, well, hang on a minute, it's been stopped before after the play continues. So you open a can of worms there. So that's when they're like, oh, we can't do anything because plays continue.
The problem with this incident is it undermines the confidence in VAR and the processes. And I'm talking about players and managers. I'm talking about fans. I'm talking about broadcasters like us, Rebecca, who have to sit here and say, oh, he looks onside, but we're told he's offside, so we'll say he's offside. The confidence in the VAR is being eroded by these kind of issues.
Is VAR fit for purpose?
Not right now.
No.
I mean, it's like we're getting apologies and mistakes, you know, not every week, but there's too many of them. Do we need a VAR for VAR? Because that's what it looks like. You know, we have to check what they're doing. And again, you know, the whole point of this, Rebecca, was that there's going to be human error in this game with the officiating, and we have a system to cut out 99.95% of them. You know, we all know in some subjective decisions, you know, there's going to be mistakes given, but this is inexcusable of the basic, of not understanding what's happened and what they're judging on. It's incredible.
Isn't it also the point that goal line technology works brilliantly?
Yeah.
Because it's black and white. Offside is also black and white. You're either offside or you're onside. Everything else, and we can look at those red cards for Jota, and we can look at the red card for Curtis Jones, and it's going to be subjective because people disagree, and former pros yourselves disagree. Yesterday you disagreed with Lee Dixon over the red card to Curtis Jones. But when somebody's offside and onside, that's why this is so frustrating. So are we in a position, Robbie Earle, where we should be waiting for automated on and offside calls before we carry on with VAR? Remove it from offside and wait until a computer, a robot can do it.
Well, as we saw in the World Cup, when the semi-automated VAR comes in, they pretty much got it right, and there was no big issues, because the problem we've got with where we are is yesterday is a perfect example of VAR should be working well. The flag goes up because the linesman doesn't quite read it, and the goal goes in, and it's a perfect situation. OK, let's just clear this up, because without VAR, the flag would have gone up and the goal wouldn't have stood, and it would have been the wrong decision. With VAR, the flag goes up, they check it, and we still get the wrong decision. But VAR should have been able to step in and right the wrong of a linesman who made a bad call. And unfortunately, it didn't.
There isn't. Go on, Rob.
No. In terms of what we should do now, Howard Webb has got to get a grip of his staff. You know, we all enjoyed the World Cup technology. It ain't quite ready yet. The clubs actually voted that it wasn't to come in this season. I want to see it because I thought it looked great in the World Cup. The staff and the officials aren't good enough right now. There's mistakes nearly every week. This mistake is, of course, the worst I think I've ever seen in the VAR. Again, this has been 4 years of it now. So retraining or getting better officials is the priority.
Well, a report that came out just a couple of minutes before we came on air from Paul Joyce in The Times goes to what you're talking about, possibly. It has emerged that Darren England and Dan Cook, the VAR officials at the centre of the controversy in Liverpool's defeat by Tottenham, were part of a refereeing team that officiated in the United Arab Emirates just 48 hours earlier. So 48 hours. On Thursday, Darren England and Dan Cook were involved in a game for the UAE Pro League, and then they flew back into Stockley Park to be the VAR for this game. That is not going to serve the PGMO well, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, what are we doing here? What's the main event here? What's the main, and whether they're affected from that travel in terms of concentration, I don't know. But it does go to the point that we need more consistent, better officials to run this league. I
mean, is there tiredness? Is there jet lag? Is there lack of concentration? We have the best league in the world, Rebecca. The stories, the drama in that yesterday. We do not have the best refereeing structure in the world that's supporting our game. Is it undermining the integrity of the league?
Yes.
Yes, because people are starting to question... People are questioning things that have happened in the past, things that are going to happen in the future. And Robbie's right. Liverpool were on a 17-game Premier League match unbeaten run. They lost that down to VAR.
Incredible mistake from a human, yeah.
Answer me yes or no. If you had the power today, would you remove VAR?
Yeah.
Robbie?
No, I'd improve it.
Okay. Fascinating stuff. It's a massive story, and it is going to rumble on after what happened and what continues to emerge in this morning's newspapers. Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.